Hello everybody, Neffertity here, and wow, would you look at that, I'm actually posting to my YouTube channel. Shocker. I want to start by apologizing for just how long it's been since I last posted to YouTube, because it has been entirely too long. I know back in like October of last year, I had planned to post the Butterfly Raptor video. That fell through for a couple of reasons. One, my footage got corrupted, and because it was like a first-time thing and I'd never done it before, there was a lot of just back and forth trial and error stuff and working late hours into the night when camera lighting is just awful. So the video footage was kind of subpar, and now that I'm starting to do this more professionally, I want my quality of videos that I produce to match the quality of products that I'm making. So because of that, I unfortunately just had to scrap the majority of that footage. It sucks, because it was a lot of recording and probably about 22 hours worth of editing before I realized that it was pretty much pointless, which sucks, but what you gonna do, you know? Beyond that, I know I had also promised a few other tutorials to my YouTube channel. We recently voted in the community tab for the feet paw tutorial, which won the popular vote. That is actually currently in progress. I'm about 3/4 of the way done with the actual producing it, and then I just have to edit the footage together and hopefully get it uploaded and produced relatively soon. Adulting in real life time, it kind of gets in the way, and it interferes with my ability to be able to produce videos on YouTube as often as I'd like. So if you're looking for more, for lack of a better word, more chill videos, and less professionally edited, just stuff that's fun and entertaining to watch, I definitely recommend checking out my TikTok account, which is just, on TikTok I'm _Neffertity_. Anybody else is a fake account. It's been an ongoing issue, which sucks, but you know, what are you gonna do? Usually my follower count speaks for itself and you can tell which one is the true account. I don't have backup accounts or anything like that, so it's just the one and only. My TikTok is filled with just all kinds of fun content. It's filled with lots of Q&A things. I have mini tutorials on there, fun little skits. Just, it's supposed to be like a place of really fun vibes. So if you're looking for short, quick videos in between everything, that's definitely the place I'd recommend checking out. I do frequently upload there at least 2 to 3 times a day. And I think that's partially what's eaten a lot of my time when it comes to uploading and posting here on YouTube. That, and it's a lot easier to sit and edit videos on my phone than it is to sit and edit them in DaVinci Resolve, which takes absolutely forever. Especially when you have to record the voiceovers and edit and blah blah blah. It's so much work, it's not even funny. Seriously, if there's YouTubers you enjoy who produce awesome content, appreciate their editor, because their editor is working their butt off to make sure that they have awesome content for you on a frequent upload basis. But with all that said, I do still intend to produce the tutorials that I promised. It's just a little bit slower going than I would like it to be, but, you know, we'll work through that together. I do greatly appreciate all of the patience that all of my wonderful YouTube subscribers have shown me, and it still boggles me every time I come to check my page and I see the amount I have following my account, and I'm like, why are you people following me? I never post to YouTube, I'm so bad at it. But I do greatly appreciate you, and I really hope that I can meet your expectations and be able to produce the kind of content that you want to see, because it's the kind of content that I want to make. And ultimately, that's why I don't monetize my YouTube channel, because I'm not here to make money off YouTube. I'm just here to produce the kind of content that I want to watch and I want to see. I'm gonna derail for a second to talk about what I'm actually doing in my drawing in this SpeedPaint. So I copy-paste the front-facing drawing, erase all the exterior lines so that there's just the outline left, and then I can draw on top of this to create the back side of the character, and you'll see that I go back and fiddle with this leg a little bit later because I'm not super happy with how it starts looking. But doing this little technique is something I picked up a while ago, and it has helped literally so much when trying to get the backside of a character to match the anatomical proportions of the front. Especially when you're dealing with a funky 3/4 angle like this, because 3/4 angles are always a pain. this face as well ended up being a complete and utter struggle, and I had to go back and do it several times, but it's the process of drawing. A lot of it is just trial and error, watching other YouTubers and seeing what they do and how they overcome obstacles, and then your own artistic brain kicks in and it goes, oh hey, you know what? Here's how you should fix that problem. And it's a lot of struggling. I get asked quite often on my TikTok channel why exactly I draw and how I draw and where I learned and how do I improve, and it's just a lot of repetitive questions like that. And it's hard to answer them because a lot of the things that I've learned over time has literally just been, I'm gonna try this, does it work? Yes or no. Or I'll watch other videos of other people doing artwork, and it gives my brain inspiration to be like, oh, I see how they overcame this issue. Ah, that's pretty smart. Let me try something similar. And by doing that, I'm able to overcome a lot of different obstacles that just over time practicing, you get better at it. Like, that's honestly the best advice I have when it comes to making artwork and drawing, is you just have to power through it, and you just have to practice. I know it sucks. It's the same way with any kind of craft and creation. You just have to practice a lot, all the time, and be prepared for there to be struggles and things that you're not super duper happy with. The more you draw, the more proficient you get at it, and the better your end results end up being. Like, the more you practice, you can only continue to improve. I've very rarely seen cases where somebody draws constantly and their art actually gets worse. Like, if that's happening, there's something wrong in what you're doing, or like you're not applying your techniques well enough. I don't know, it's really hard to describe and talk about how to get better at art. I noticed that a lot of the followers on my TikTok are younger, and a lot of the younger ones have been drawing for like maybe 2 months, and then they see my work and they're like, oh, I'll never be as good as you. And it's like, well, I've been drawing for over 20 years now, so 20 years and 2 months is a very, very big difference in time. You just have to keep powering through it and keep practicing. Anatomy is honestly one of the parts where I struggle the absolute worst. And hands, of course. Oh my gosh, when I'm doing the line art for this hand right here, I go back and I probably do this same dang hand like 10 times. It's just... Hands and anatomy are hard. I've studied, I've practiced, I've referenced, just every which way I try to do something, it doesn't always come out exactly like how I want. And, you know, that's perfectly fine when it comes to artwork. Sometimes you just have to kind of accept what you're able to do at this current point in time and work towards improving. It's difficult, it's frustrating, but in the long run, it will help you become a better artist. I also get asked a lot what I use to draw. I use an Intuos Pro tablet, and I'm just drawing in Fire Alpaca, which is an awesome free program. That's my favorite price when it comes to art programs. Free 99, you know what I'm saying? And it's overall a pretty good program. I do draw with very high stabilizers because I shake really bad, but I do like the thickness that it gives my line art, and it helps me control my line weight much easier. There's also certain areas where I'll use a line looping tool to be able to help me out on long stretches. Otherwise, I'll draw the same line like 40, 50 times and still not be happy with it. My anatomy's definitely not perfect. I'm not aiming for it to be perfect, but I do tend to nitpick it sometimes, and if I'm not super happy with how certain areas look, I come in and I fix them. Like this tail spot right here, I wasn't happy with how sharp that angle was. And then putting line weight in the corners. It's just like little adjustments and things like that tend to go a long way in your art. Practice and keep at it. That's the best advice that I can give you. I plan to do drawing tutorials so in the future. Like, it's not a super big thing that I want to focus on my channel, because I'm definitely trying to lean more towards becoming a fursuit maker full-time, because that's where I would like to pursue all of my main time and my talents. Honestly, since I started making fursuits, it's one of the coolest things that I've been able to do. Like, looking back to the very first suit I ever made of Neffertity in, was it late 2018? Oh no, it was early 2018 because I went to BLS, that's right. It was like early 2018, I created the Neffertiti head and tail. I was like nervous about them because I felt like they weren't the best work, and I was super scared that people were gonna judge it and be like, oh, you're an awful fursuit maker, why did you even try? But it ended up being a polar opposite result. When I attended the first convention I ever went to, or rather the first fur convention I ever went to, all the comments that I got on my suit were overwhelmingly positive, and for me that was the biggest inspiration to try and do better. And that's exactly what I ended up applying my abilities to do. I made another suit, I think it was like a couple months later, and then in early 2019, Winza 1.0 was brought to life, and just the sheer difference between my first suit and Winza 1.0 was breathtaking. But then we moved into, more practice, and eventually I will release the video for Winza 2.0's suit here on YouTube. I have actually posted a lot of it on my TikTok, but due to some filming issues and bad weather conditions, I haven't been able to fully film and edit all the footage that I need for Winza 2.0 here for YouTube. But the difference between the two suits, the same exact character made by the same maker, 1 year apart, is mind-boggling. Like, it's almost unfathomable how quickly I've been able to improve at this craft. And a lot of that just comes from trial and error, watching what other makers do, picking up different techniques and things, and trying to find what's going to work the absolute best. Now, I mentioned this because I never in my wildest dreams ever thought I would be a fursuit maker full-time. Like, it never occurred to me that this could actually be my career. This could be my future. And if I'd never tried, if I'd never made that first suit, I never would have gotten where I am today. And the fact that I can now create literally anything I can imagine, almost anything I see, I can bring to life. I'm doing things with fursuits that no maker has ever done before. And I think the people who follow my work and watch what I'm able to produce, they see that genuine ability and that genuine passion for this craft, and they can appreciate that. And that's one of the things that I really want to start being able to do full time, and I want fursuit making to be my job. I'm getting a little bit rambly because I'm trying to hold back the emotions, because when I start talking about things that I'm passionate about, I'll just blather on and on and on, and it gets ridiculous. But the point I'm trying to eventually segue into is never give up just because your first few tries aren't what you want to produce. You may not be as good as the pro makers, but that's okay. We all start somewhere, and if you tell yourself, I'll never be able to do this, you won't be able to. You have to try, you have to push through, try new things, challenge yourself. As an artist, you should always be pushing yourself to do better than the previous time. It'll help you improve, and it'll help your quality just skyrocket as you continue to do this. The more you push and challenge yourself, the better your end results will end up being. You just have to kind of work through it little by little, and try not to get so discouraged when something doesn't quite go the way you want. A lot of it is just, doing what works when it works. And if you're a first-time crafter or maker out there and you're thinking about doing something for the first time and you don't know how it's going to turn out, I highly encourage you to try anyway. Like, you will blow your own self away when you see the kind of things that you can create if you just try. And if you don't try, you'll never know. At some point in the near future, I really would love to do, like, full-on classes or something. I don't know if they would be hosted on Twitch or if I would find some other kind of, like, podcast platform. I'm still kind of on the fence about it because it is a lot to orchestrate, and it does require a lot from viewers to be able to come in and make sure that they have all their materials, all their tools, and that they're following along with the class. But I do think it would be really, really cool to be able to do something like that, and as much as I'd love to do that in person, if the great global pepperoni that's happened the last year and a half has taught me anything, it's that people don't like to take time out of their day to come to a physical location and do a physical class. Online classes are generally what people prefer because they don't have to worry about what they're doing. They can just do it on their own time, which is like, you know, I get that. I'm a bit introverted myself. I only really get extroverted and crazy when I have my suits on, which is a bizarre concept that my suits are able to influence me that much, but if anybody is interested in doing, like, live classes or something, due to the amount of time and effort involved in it, there would more than likely end up being some sort of a class fee because it is a phenomenal amount of work that has to be done to orchestrate something like that. But the fee would more than likely be very inexpensive, so it wouldn't be too bad. It's just one of those things that I'm not sure I want to invest in yet, because I don't know if there's going to be enough people to justify it. That's one of the reasons why I stopped doing my art classes a while back, because I ended up going from having a solid attendance of about 15 to 20 people per class, and then it petered down to like 2 attendees per class, and the classes went from being 4 hours to maybe an hour and a half. And it just, the amount of prep work I had to put into the classes at that point for only 2 attendees to show up, it was discouraging, and it just felt like it wasn't worth it to be able to go through all that effort. Like, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes of setting things up and getting them ready to go and being able to teach efficiently without having to go on big rambles like I'm kind of doing right now. When I'm just recording voiceovers and stuff, I usually don't script anything because I don't see the point in scripting it. I'm essentially just talking to get the kind of ideas that are in my brain onto the microphone and then sort of sharing them all with you. It's basically that. It's like sharing my thoughts. It's one of the reasons why I will be launching my podcast hopefully within the next month if all goes well. I just have a few more resources I have to finalize on it, and then I will release more information regarding that. The podcast itself will vary in topics. The biggest one is obviously the majority of it's going to center around, you know, furry content and artwork and stuff like that, but there will be times where I talk about other things, talk about video games or whatever. I may have guest stars on my podcast. I've got a lot planned for it. It's just finalizing the resources and then getting it uploaded. I'll probably only take segments of it to upload to YouTube because sometimes we're going to talk about things that are a little bit risque and a little bit more adult-oriented. And it's just one of those things that I try to make my content all age-friendly here on YouTube and on TikTok and stuff like that. So I very likely wouldn't post the whole thing, just because sometimes I may go a little bit off on a tangent, and if you've attended any of my Twitch live streams when I play video games, you know that sometimes I swear. I'm trying not to swear on YouTube as much, mostly because the algorithm hates it when you do that, but also so I can keep my content family friendly. So, it's a lot that's kind of planned. How much I'll follow through, however, is kind of up for debate, but I guess I'll just play it by ear and see what happens when it happens. But aside from that, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to all this blathering that I've done, and I hope you were entertained by watching me bring this lovely little dragon to life, and I am so stoked to make his full suit. It's gonna be awesome, and I'm looking forward to it. So, once again, thank you all so much for watching and sitting in on this video. Because it's just a speed paint, I'm not going to be doing a patron screen on this one. This is just kind of my talk between you guys and me, and I hope to produce content more frequently in the future. So thank you for sticking around. Hopefully there's some stuff you're looking forward to, and I will see you in the next video. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day and a fantastic life.